Okay, welcome everyone to episode 2 of the Strategy Wargamers podcast. I'm your host, Gene Marciniak, and I'm here with two developers from the famous Soft Dev, guys behind the Scourge of War Gettysburg series. We have Norb, which is right in the middle. Say hello, Norb.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Thanks for coming by.
And then we have Jim Weaver.
Hello, good evening, and happy Friday.
I know what it is. It is Waterloo. So is that the big announcement? Is that what the game is going to be? The new?
Absolutely.
Wow. All right. Awesome. So Waterloo is going to be the next title here.
Yep, we're moving across the ocean. Gonna try our hand over there, see how it goes.
We'll have all four major battles in the campaign, because there was preliminary battles 2 days earlier, essentially two battles almost within sight of each other at Quatre Bras and Ligny, and then there was a separate delaying action on the same day as Waterloo at Wavre, and so we end up with four battles and four different battlefields, which will be shipped with the game. We're still in a lot of development phase, so a lot of what we'd like to do isn't in the game. So what we say this month may or may not ship in the game at the whenever we finally get it out the door.
Just remember that the only thing that's definite is we're doing Waterloo.
Yeah.
We love to share our death
Everything
stuff with
changed.
you, but it's all got that big disclaimer. If we get to it, if we get it done.
Yeah.
We're working on a lot of cool stuff. I mean, number one, Waterloo has a lot more uniforms than we've ever done before. So we had I worked really close with our sprite artist, Tim, and came up with a whole new way of doing the sprites in the game. So he's going hog wild. We're going to have more uniforms than you've ever seen in a Scourge of War game.
Oh wow! All right, that says a lot because there were a lot of uniforms in Gettysburg there.
Not even close to what there are at Waterloo.
Any chance of like maybe a sandbox type of thing where it starts with Battle 1 and then you can go all the way to Battle 4 and just kind of deploy your troops without having to load and then end the mission and going into another one?
Talked about it extensively. We have a pretty good design concept of how it would work. We've got a new guy who's starting to build some of the tool structures that will be needed to make a campaign mode happen. So it's something that we'd like to do, but whether we will have the time and the energy to do it for the original release of Waterloo, we'll find out when we get there.
Okay.
We would definitely like to do it.
Is the map larger than it was in Gettysburg, or is it smaller?
The individual battles all fit quite conveniently on a 5-mile map. So the individual battlefield maps will all be 5 miles.
Okay.
The campaign map, if we get to that, will cover the entire region with the full road net.
Oh, wow.
So you won't be able to see the individual soldiers marching like you do on the battlefield map. They'll be abstracted somehow, and exactly how we don't really know at this point. So you'll give orders to your troops, and depending on how you've got your cavalry deployed, you will or will not know where various edges of enemy units are.
Okay. It's a lot of fog of war.
Yeah, there will be real fog of war.
Nice. Let's see.
Yeah, we're going to bring that. Hopefully, we're going to bring that concept into our sandbox mode. You'll be able to play a new sandbox mode where you're linking the different battles and going after the entire campaign map however you want. I've been excited for it. It's something we've talked about for years. Well, what we do is we set two armies on the campaign map somewhere, and then you'd move your units at a strategic type level. And then when two armies meet, you'd go to like the current sandbox mode where you actually fight it out. And when that battle's done, you go back to the campaign map.
It's going to be more, I don't want to say like NATO units on hex map, because I have a problem with hexes, but it will be it'll be at least block units maneuvering on a map, and you'll give orders for specific units to go on specific roads with specific destinations. And if you run into somebody, well, then you'll go to as Norm said, at that point, it'll precipitate a tactical battle either on one of the battlefield, the historical maps, or we'll also ship some generic maps along with it. Essentially, so you'll fight the battle and you have whatever casualties you have. And then you can decide to retreat. Essentially, you can say retreat, end battle by retreating, which would essentially kick you back into the campaign mode with your troops going in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's.
And then whoever won can either stay there, or he can pursue, or he can, at that point, each side is free to maneuver back on the campaign map.
And you guys are looking at probably a 2015 or 2016 release, right?
Our fairly hard deadline is we're going to ship something before the anniversary, because next June is the, what would that be, 200th anniversary. How many bells and whistles it will have, time will tell. One of the things that we're doing under the hood, so to speak, with Waterloo is we're breaking out a lot of the AI functions into externally moddable code, actual code modules that someone who can understand code, you can write additional modules to create new behaviors or to really change existing behaviors. So we're going to have the ability for folks to actually mod the AI. We're not planning to spend so much time rolling out tens of Napoleonic battles ourselves, and we're going to try and release a tool set so that the players, and most especially the mod community, can build their own battles and can build their own. And if we can get the campaign section in the first release, then they can build additional campaign maps and additional campaigns.
Make everything possible moddable. We're making the AI moddable. We're making the maps moddable. Everything we can open up, we're just throwing out.
Are you guys currently, is this like a full-time job for you, or is this still part-time that you're doing this?
Still a hobby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we still work nights and evenings on it, which is nice. We make our own schedules. We decide when we're done. We don't have any pressure that we need a publisher to give us a check so we can live.
Matt has a question. Are you looking at improvements to hits and sending orders, the more sim-style elements in Scourge of War?
In answer to the hits question, a lot of guys on our team want a WSAD movement if you're playing hits, and that's something else that we're hoping to get in. Our head QA guy's Connor, and he's our courier advocate, and I know he has a list of stuff for me. We're working on the low-level stuff right now, but I promise you, Connor is the biggest user of couriers there is, and he won't let us get away with not doing some pretty major improvements.
Our goal is to make the game playable at multiple levels. I mean, some people are really looking for the pure historical experience, and they play only hits and only couriers. Some people, who learned on Sid Meier's Antietam, are quite comfortable commanding from 500 feet. It has to be playable with all three armies on the battlefield at the same time in combat, which amounts to about 200,000 soldiers at a 1-to-4 sprite ratio. That's 50,000 soldier sprites on the battlefield.
We absolutely have plans to come back to the American Civil War, but not until after Waterloo's released.
Waterloo is the new generation of development. There were a number of things that we really wanted to do, improvements we wanted to make that we couldn't make without breaking Gettysburg, because the things wouldn't be compatible. The file structures the things we had to add would no longer work with the rest of the system. So we had to make, it was time to make a generational upgrade. So that's what we're in the middle of doing now, and that takes time. I mean, so there is going to be a bit of a gap but we think it'll be well worth the wait, and we'll have significant capabilities with the Waterloo engine that we don't have with the Gettysburg engine. So, and then when we go take the Waterloo base engine and then go back across the pond to the Civil War, we'll have a lot better capabilities. We'll have more sophisticated capabilities that we can apply to the Civil War era, and we'll have at least we'll have the bones of a campaign mode already in place, which we can then spend more time. So we'll have the battle engine, you know, at a higher level. We can spend more development time on the major operational level campaign mode that we've been talking about for some time. The tactical battle itself is going to be pretty much on our standard layout of, you've got the battle, you've got scenarios set at various stages, you know, at various critical time points and critical places along the battle that you can then play out. So what the Battle of Waterloo itself fits on a map. The Quatre Bras is another map. Ligny is another map. Wavre is another map. And then we'll have additional generic maps for people to play on. And if we get the campaign mode fully running, then we'll need some, you know, because then when you have collisions, you need a map to fight on. So we don't want people always fighting on Waterloo.
Will there be weather, muddy ground, and can the buildings be garrisoned? That's actually a good question.
The buildings, that's mandatory for Waterloo. It was such an important part of the battle that it has to be done. It's going to be done. We don't have a choice, because otherwise two major fights of the battle can't be fought if you can't garrison the building. So that has to be done. And they'll have very good defensive values, which historically they did. It'll be tough, really tough to take them. To realize that, you know, I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff, but it's all very much in active development, and we've got the maps up, we've got some troops on the map, and we have a lot of work to do, and not everything that we talked about tonight is going to end up shipping, but we hope most of it will. But, you know, we only have so many hours and so many days, so many nights and weekends to spend on this, and we'll take it as far as we can, and then what doesn't get in this one, we'll get in the next one. And you know, when we get a lot closer to release, maybe we can show some stuff off. Maybe we can figure out how to broadcast a live multiplayer game.